Good Yontif. Can you hear me? Good Yontif. Good evening, everyone. Good Yontif. Can I have everyone take your seats? We're going to get started. I've noticed that works. Thank you. First of all, we just have a couple of security announcements first. In the event of an emergency at all, we have the exits on the sides here. There are some exit signs on the wall behind you, but ignore those. We're taking them down. That just goes to the other part of the social hall. So go to the two sides if there's any kind of an emergency. In the event of a medical emergency, we have the room across from the sanctuary. That is the multi-purpose room. We've got everything from Band-Aids on up in there, so if you need anything, go ahead and go in there. If you parked at the CVS, you will get towed. You need to park over at Kohl's, and hopefully everybody knows that by now, but if you didn't and you parked at the CVS, go move. I don't want you to get towed on Kol Nidre. And then please turn off the cell phones or put them on stun and just scare yourself, not us. And with that, we're going to get started. We are going to start with our Kol Nidre chairperson, Kol Nidre Appeal chairperson, Shelley Berkeley.
Good evening, everybody. When I was a kid, the high holidays were my favorite holidays. I saw almost everyone that I knew and loved in one giant room. I loved going to services and seeing all of my friends and people that I wanted to be my friends. I would look at the Kol Nidre pledge book and dream of the day that I would be able to see my name in that book. Thanks to Dr. Larry, my name is in that book. I used to think when I started running for office that God had been so good to me that my whole donor base would be in one room a month before the election. I suspect that Congresswoman Rosen probably feels the same way. Over the last 6 months, I've sometimes felt like a character in a Charles Dickens novel. It's been the best of times, and it's been the worst of times. The worst is my father passed away last month after a 6-month decline. He was 93, and before he passed, he told all of us that he'd had a great life, he had a great family, and he had no regrets. I honestly thought he was going to live forever. I'd gotten so accustomed to seeing him around, but he didn't, and it's been a very hard transition for me. 3 days after my dad passed, my sister became a grandmother. Stella, named after my mother, came into the world less than 5 pounds. I've been absolutely astonished that something so teeny could fill that extraordinarily big hole in my heart, but she has. And during all of this, we're planning 2 weddings in my family. Both my boys are finally getting married. They're older than dirt. But they found 2 wonderful girls, and my Makatunas are here today. This is their temple, the Chennins. Kelly grew up at this temple. They're going to have a very wonderful life together. And I'm sure the Chennins are beginning to think the way I am, that there's going to be new life and babies in our future. And how renewing and wonderful is that? As you can imagine, I've been on quite an emotional roller coaster over the last 6 months. When I was sitting in my father's hospital room and then later in his hospice room, I had a lot of time to think and reflect about life and death and all the moments in between. It occurred to me that for every important phase of life, we turn to our temple for advice and guidance and support and help. If it's births, brisses, baby namings, preschool, Hebrew school, bar mitzvahs, bas mitzvahs, youth groups. I was very active in all of the Jewish youth groups. Marriages, women's clubs, men's clubs, senior organizations. It all takes place here at our temple. Look around. Look at this beautiful sanctuary. Look at the beautiful buildings that we have been blessed with, the beautiful grounds, the welcoming and helpful staff, a rabbi who's dedicated the last 30 years of his life to us, and a cantor who I am certain there are nightingales that are jealous of her beautiful, beautiful voice. It all takes place here at our temple. All of us here to be helped and supported and guided 365 days a year. Kol Nidre is the one night of the year that our temple looks to us for the support and help that our temple needs to support us. The services, the events, the programming, everything that we, or should I say I, have taken for granted for so many years takes planning and staff and time and money. A temple does not run itself. It takes all of us, every one of us, to help make our congregation successful, to make it work today and tomorrow and in the future. As I look around this sanctuary, I see people that I have known for many, many years, actually for most of my life. We know each other because of this synagogue. We belong together because we belong here. What if we didn't have this synagogue? Where would we go for the help and advice and guidance, for observance of our traditions? Who would pass down these traditions to our children and our grandchildren if not this temple? I want this temple to be here for my children and grandchildren and future generations of my family who I will never know, but I'll be comforted in knowing that they are here and they're members of Congregation Ner Tamid. It takes the financial support of all of us to ensure that happens. As we gather for Kol Nidre, as our people have for 5,779 years, in spite of enormous obstacles and those that would have destroyed us from the beginning of time, I ask you to open the envelopes that you have received on the way in and fill out the pledge card. I told a story earlier today when I spoke to the family service, and I said that one of the reasons I loved Kol Nidre is it was the one night of the year that my parents came to temple with me. They were not temple people, but on Kol Nidre, my dad took the night off, and we came to temple as a family. And after the elder congregant, which I now find myself in the unenviable position of being, gave the Kol Nidre appeal, my dad would take out the envelope, and in those days it had the tabs $18, $36, on and on and on. And he would point to one of the numbers, one of the tabs, and let me turn up the flap. I cannot tell you what a sense of belonging I had, and sheer joy and pleasure pulling up that tab. It meant that my family was part of something so much bigger than ourselves, and that we belonged and supported a synagogue. It was our synagogue, and we were supporting it by making that pledge. By doing so, we're acknowledging the importance of this synagogue in our lives, in the lives of future generations of our families and of the Jewish people. It depends, or our existence depends on what we do as a people, as a congregation, as a giant family of Jewish people to ensure that this synagogue will be here for the future. May your name be sealed in the book of life for years to come. I want to wish each and every one of you, those that I have known for as long as I can remember, and those that I have met over the years, wish you and your families a very happy, healthy, sweet new year and an easy fast over the next 24 hours. It's an honor and a blessing to speak with you this evening.
We're going to take a minute, and we're going to have people collecting the envelopes before we start the Kol Nidre service. And now, please listen to the somber yet hopeful music of Kol Nidre.
The human spirit is the lamp of God, searching out what lies within us. Guided by the flame of conscience, on this sacred night we search for truth. Shine your light upon us as we strive to serve you. May we find safety in your faithful love. We light the flame of healing and forgiveness. On this atonement night, we give thanks for love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu tzivanu lahadlik ner shel yom kippur. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of braving light on Yom Kippur.
How about this? So I'll hold the mic. Okay, page 14. As we continue on page 14, I'd like to call up special honors to accompany the art curtains when they are open for the Kol Nidre. C&T board members Mindy Unger-Watkins, Don Ross, Della Costa, Jolie Brislin, Deanna D'Arklin, George Freed, Cindy Jensen, Larry Lerner, Debbie Luce, Beth Miller. These are really heavy curtains. Alyssa Naveworth, Robin Pence, Pam Poster, Alan Schulman, Joy Sperling, Barney Tabak, Hillary Unger, David Cherry. If you make your way, just gather right here. That'd be perfect. Page 14 with the congregation, please rise. Yom Kippur, the Jewish people's festival of the soul, and Kol Nidre is sacred portal, a night of deep emotions, a night, as the psalmist wrote, to rejoice with trembling.
We rejoice at the sound of Kol Nidre, rhythmic words of release from vows, oaths, and promises to God we fail to keep.
We tremble at the melody, music of spiritual amazement. It fills us with awe as we stand before God and Torah.
We rejoice that we stand together, strengthened by community in this hour of shared weakness and humility.
We tremble, for tonight we confess our flaws, admit our imperfection, and acknowledge a power far beyond our understanding.
We rejoice that we commit ourselves to great endeavors because we feel so deeply and think so nobly.
We tremble, for we find that our ideals are far greater than our ability. Our promises surpass our might.
We rejoice in the freedom that is Kol Nidre's true gift, the freedom to begin a new year without fear of failure, to aspire to be God's image in the world.
We tremble because we are mortal. We rejoice in our gratitude for life.
We rejoice with trembling and enter Kol Nidre to face our humanity.
Michelle Blank, Brian Pence, Ilana Garov, David Lenevsky, and Larry Lerner, come forward. Michelle Blank, Brian Pence, Ilana Goroff, David Lenevsky, Larry Lerner, and Mindy Watkins. With one voice, assembled sages past and present declare, all may pray as one on this night of repentance. Let none be excluded from our community of prayer. With one voice, God and congregation proclaim, all may pray as one on this day of return. Let all find a place in this sacred assembly. resolves and commitments, vows of abstinence in terms of obligations, sworn promises and oaths of dedication, that we promise and swear to God and take upon ourselves from this day of atonement until next day of atonement, may it find us well. We regret them, and for all of them we repent. Let all of them be discarded and forgiven, abolished and undone. They are not valid and they are not binding. Our vows shall not be vows, our resolves shall not be resolves, and our oaths, they shall not be oaths. Page 22. Chant your supplications to God in a melody that makes the heart weep, in your praises of God in one that will make it sing. Thus you will be filled with love and joy for the one who sees the heart. We continue on page 25. Day and night are yours, creative spirit of the universe, the muted colors of the twilight, the radiance of dawn. Yours are the spreading wings of light, the deepening shadows of darkness, an ever-changing drama. In the human heart, too, the struggle between darkness and light unfolds. From sunlit heights of generosity, the human heart sinks to the gloomy depths of selfishness. Although we fall, you give us the strength to rise again. You call on those who hurt through word or deed to break free from wrongdoing and return to you. All who hear your call to goodness are embraced. All who reject emptiness and evil find acceptance from you. We come into your presence this night of Kol Nidre, aware that our shortcomings and weaknesses are many, yet encouraged by your promise of forgiveness. We choose freely the path of repentance, restoring wholeness to our lives and holiness to the world.
Baruch atah Adonai, Hamari v'aravim.
Love beyond all space and time, your love enfolds your people, Yisrael. We receive it in your teaching, your gift of Torah, sacred obligations, discipline, and law. So let us speak these teachings when we lie down and rise up and find joy forever in your Torah and mitzvot. They are the very essence of our life, ours to ponder and study all our days. May we never lose or be unworthy of your love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
We rise for the Shema. Listen, Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated. Members of our Nidre board, share with us the honor of the Ve'ahavta.
Totafot beinenecha uvtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim leloechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher Tirtem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet.
continue on page 38. Truth and faith, these are fundamental to our essence. God alone is their source, and we are Israel, a people of God. Our sovereign saves us from tyranny, redeems us from its violence through countless wonders, from its brutality through great feats beyond measure. We are Israel, a people of God, the giver of life, who would not let our feet give way, the maker of miracles for us against Pharaoh, of signs and portents in the land of Egypt, the one who brought our people Israel from its midst to enduring freedom. Witnesses to this heroic might, the people thanked and praised God by name, freely accepting the reign of heaven. Then Moses and Miriam and all Israel sang to you this song of utter joy.
מלכותך
We continue with the tefillah on page 46. Have mercy upon me, O God, as befits your faithfulness. In keeping with your abundant compassion, blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly of my iniquity, and purify me of my sin. For I recognize my transgressions, and I am ever conscious of my sin. Let us rise.
Adonai Sfatai Tivta Adonai Sfatai Tivta Ufi Agid Tehilatecha Ufi Agid Tehilatecha Adonai Sfatai Tivta Adonai Sfatai Tivta Ufi Agid Tehilatecha Ufi Adonai Sfatai Tivta Adonai Sfatai Tivta Ufi Agid Tehilatecha Ufi Agid Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohim
Please be seated. We continue reading at our own individual pace, pages 50 through page 70, quietly to ourselves. Page 50 through 70.
Continue on page 72.
Israel
this time we turn to page 82 and transition to Vidui, the confessional of our Kol Nidre service. Please rise.
Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, tavo lefanecha, tfilateinu, ve'al titalam mitchinateinu, shein anachnu azefanim u'kashem lomar lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu tzadikim anachnu v'lo chatanu אבל אנחנו
Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence, and when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. Please be seated.
Gazalno,
Together we read, of these wrongs we are guilty. We betray, we steal, we scorn, we act perversely. We are cruel, we scheme, we are violent, we slander, we devise evil, we lie, we ridicule, we disobey, we abuse, we defy, we corrupt, we commit crimes, we are hostile, we are stubborn, we are immoral, we kill, we spoil, we go astray, we lead others astray. Or turning away from your mitzvot and laws of goodness is a hollow pursuit. You are just concerning all that happens in our lives. Your way is the way of truth, while ours leads to error. What can we say to you whose existence is beyond time and space? What words of ours can reach your realm beyond the clouds, beyond heaven itself? Every hidden mystery, every revelation, surely you know them all. Together, you know the secrets of the universe and the secrets of the human heart. You know and understand us, for you examine our inner lives. Nothing is concealed from you, nothing hidden from your sight. Eternal One, our God and God of our ancestors, we pray that this be your will. Forgive all our wrongs. Pardon us for every act of injustice. Help us atone for all our moral failures.
שחטאנו לפניך בזדון ובשגגה, בעל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדיבור פה.
Together, the ways we have wronged you deliberately and by mistake, and harm we have caused in your world through the words of our mouths.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך
The ways we have wronged you by hardening our hearts, and harm we have caused in your world through careless speech.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך
The ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in our world through gossip and rumor.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך
The ways we have wronged you by judging others unfairly, and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך
The ways we have wronged you through insincere apologies, and harm we have caused in your world by mistreating a friend or neighbor.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך
The ways we have wronged you through violence and abuse, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business.
ועל כולם אלוהי סליחות, סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו.
For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך
The ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world by losing self-control.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך
The ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך
The ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through greed and exploitation.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך
The ways we have wronged you through cynicism and scorn, and harm we have caused in your world through arrogant behavior.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך
The ways we have wronged you by hating without cause, and harm we have caused in your world through offensive speech.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך
The ways we have wronged you with a slanderous tongue, and harm we have caused in your world through a selfish or petty spirit. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, and lead us to atonement. Page 98. Hear our call, Adonai our God. Show us compassion. Accept our prayer with love and goodwill. Take us back, Adonai. Let us come back to you. Renew our days as in the past. Hear our words, Adonai. Understand our unspoken thoughts. May the speech of our mouth and our heart's quiet prayer be acceptable to you, Adonai, our rock and our Redeemer. Together, do not cast us away from your presence or cut us off from your Holy Spirit. Do not cast us away when we are old, as our strength diminishes. Do not forsake us. Do not forsake us, Adonai. Be not far from us, our God. With hope, Adonai, we await you. Surely you, Adonai, our God, you will answer. Will you hear my voice, you who are far from me? Will you hear my voice wherever you are? A voice calling aloud, a voice silently weeping, endlessly demanding a blessing. This busy world is vast, its ways are many. Paths meet for a moment, then part forever. We go on searching, but our feet stumble. We cannot find that which we have lost. Perhaps my last day is already drawing near. Drawing close are the tears of parting. I will wait for you till my days flicker out, like Rachel waiting for her beloved. Continue on page 100. God of forgiveness, we come before you in need of compassion. At Sinai you spoke words that guide our lives to this day, but our ancestors lost faith in you, lost hope in their Redeemer. With one voice they had promised, we will do and obey, and yet stiff-necked they broke their word, adoring an idol of gold. How wondrous your compassion in the face of their rebellion, your forgiveness in that moment of human weakness and doubt. Together, we too have broken promises to you. We too worship the work of our own hands. We too made of gold a god, and we too forsake your word. At Sinai you revealed 13 attributes of mercy. These aspects of your nature, your very essence, we now recall. continue on page 105. In all our ways, be aware of God, for there is no sovereign without a people. Ein melech below im, below am. We are this chariot on which God's glory rides, for there is no sovereign without a people. Let the love of God be spread through our deeds, for there is no sovereign without a people. You are my servant, God, Israel. I will be glorified through you, for there is no sovereign without a people. Where is God? Anywhere we let God in, for there is no sovereign without a people. Ein melech below am. Eternal God, you revealed to Moses your 13 attributes of mercy. They exist in the world through our awareness. They transform the world through our actions. We speak them now as prayer and aspiration. Adonai, Adonai, God, compassionate together, gracious, endlessly patient, loving and true, showing mercy to the thousandth generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, granting pardon. (107). We are insolent, but you are compassionate and gracious together. We are stubborn and stiff-necked, but you are slow to anger. We persist in doing wrong, but you are the essence of mercy.
Days are a shadow passing by, but you are existence itself, your years never ending.
Adonai, Adonai, God, compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving and true, showing mercy to the thousandth generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, granting pardon. If I could see God's face within my heart, I'd see the face of a gardener, compassionate to weed and flowers alike, patiently pruning, graciously planting, loving the endless hours of tending and nurturing the earth, seeds, roots, all that grows, and true to the essence of the gardener's work, forgiving the fallen branches, the withered petals, the cracked stones, the broken stems.
If I could see God's face within my heart, I'd see the human face in 1,000 acts of mercy, the one who gives bread to the hungry and shelters the lost, the one who hears the voice of grief and makes room for the stranger, who brings relief to the blind, the bent, the unjustly imprisoned, and is true to the essence of holy work, defying evil, healing brokenness, easing pain, and, in the end, forgiving ourselves as God forgives us.
Answer us, you who answered our mother Sarah in her old age, you who answered our father Abraham on Mount Moriah, you who answered their son Isaac, who bound upon the altar, you who answered Rebekah when she cried, "Why do I exist?" You who answered Jacob at Bethel, "Israel shall be your name." You who answered Leah in her sadness, you who answered Rachel in her pain, you who answered Joseph in the prison house, you who answered the midwives, Shiphrah and Puah at the birthing stones, you who answered Yocheved's courage on the bank of the Nile, you who answered our fathers and our mothers at the Sea of Reeds, you who answered Moses at Sinai, I bore you on eagle's wings. You who answered the daughters of Zelophehad, who stood up for their rights before Moses and God. You who answered Elijah with a still small voice in the wilderness. You who answered the righteous ones before us, men and women of integrity and compassion. Please answer us. In a moment, we'll sing the beautiful Avinu Malkeinu. So I'd like to call upon Diane and Kenny Epstein, Alex and Jonathan Kadai, Katie and Jonathan Fine, Michelle and Lawrence Epstein, Jake, Joe, and Lauren. If you are here, please come forward. Have some? What? Are they here? You don't know? Okay. They are. Page 113, with the congregation, please rise. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice. Some of us have cancer, some have lost strength of body, some have lost memory and speech. Some of us are in pain. Some can't find work. Some of us bear the marks of human cruelty, inside where the scars don't show. Some live with depression. Some battle addiction. Many feel alone. Some have known shattered marriages, trust betrayed, hopes destroyed. Some of us have lost the ones we love far too soon. Some have lost a child. All of us have been suffering in our midst. All of us know the ravages of war, for which there are no words.
Avinu Malkeinu, why? Avinu Malkeinu, are you there? Do you care? Avinu Malkeinu, hear our pain, hear our anger, hear our grief.
Avinu Malkeinu, hears our prayer. Give us the strength to go on. Give us reason to get up each day. Give us purpose and persistence. Help us to fend off fear and to hold on to hope. Help us to be kind. Don't make us bow or grovel for your favor. Give us dignity and give us courage. Together, Avinu Malkeinu, show us the way to a year of goodness. Renew our belief that the world can be better. Restore our faith in life. Restore our faith in you.
Avinu Malkeinu, חטאנו לפניך,
All right, 50-50 chance. Is this mic working? That's good. All right. Let's see here. So first of all, good yontif, everyone. So as I reflected back upon the past 30 years, I thought about all of the stories and experiences that I've had. I thought about the many personal and professional challenges that I encountered. And I thought about the question that has been asked of me with the most frequency and urgency. The question begins something like this. I'm standing in a hospital room where a 45-year-old mother of 3 has been diagnosed with a virulent form of breast cancer. She never smoked. There was no genetic predisposition. There were more questions than answers. And she has some decisions to make, life and death decisions. Not a doctor, and she knew that, but her eyes looked at mine. Her mouth formed a single question. Why? Why me? A 20-something goes to a party with her friends. They party too much, drink too much, use drugs too much. The next day, she is found dead. Her friends too scared to seek help. Her parents' eyes meet mine. Why? A 20-something is driving home one evening after band rehearsal. It was on a dimly lit road in a woodsy area. A drunk driver dashes through the traffic light against red, killing him instantly. Why? There are many whys, many whys that I am asked over the course of the year. Many times it is, why do we do this mitzvah, Rabbi? Or why is the Torah teaching us that, Rabbi? Those are the easy ones, the intellectual pursuits. But this why, the why that is asked in moments of great pain, are the ones that touch my soul and cause me to tremble. I tremble because I know that I have asked the same question many times myself. I tremble because I know that despite the fact that an entire book of the Bible, the book of Job, addresses this subject, the answer given is not sufficient. It is not sufficient to be told, don't ask, I am God. I am unknowable. Trust in me because I understand the big picture. This is all part of my cosmic plan. Plan? You mean there is a reason that this has happened? That my loved one is sick? That my loved one has died? What possible reason can there be that cannot be argued the other way? Sometimes I find myself standing there in silence, knowing no words will suffice, but somehow my presence makes a difference. Sometimes I find myself offering a prayer. Sometimes I leave and find myself asking, why? I often find that the answer to this question occurs not in the moment of most pain. It happens, if it happens at all, oftentimes a good time afterwards. It happens after they have sought to understand the medical and human elements that lead up to their sorrow. It happens when they come to me and they are at a crossroads. It happens, well, on the one hand, they are stuck in anger and loss of faith, and on the other hand, they want to move forward and return to life. But they're blocked. This wall of anger is so very powerful. All of us at one time or another have built such a wall. It serves to protect us from emotions that we fear will overwhelm us. It serves to box us in so we can find dysfunctional comfort in our pain, which somehow validates and reinforces our feelings that the world is unfair, that there is no God. Or if there is a God, that God is capricious and unfair. And the wall serves to harden our hearts so that we don't have to feel anything. We can simply be numb to emotions, good or bad. In her recent book, Einstein and the Rabbi, Rabbi Naomi Levy talks about how Yom Kippur comes down to a single theme, a verse from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36, verse 26. And I will remove your heart of stone, and I will give you a heart of flesh. I will remove your heart of stone, and I will give you a heart of flesh. Tonight, as we began our services, we all stood while the ancient melody of the Kol Nidre was chanted so beautifully. And you look at the translation and you realize that it is a prayer that annuls vows. The prayer says, may our vows not be vows, may our oaths not be oaths. Why would Judaism let people off the hook so easily? Is it possible that this prayer is actually saying, it's no big deal. You don't have to keep your promises. Your word doesn't really matter. I don't think so. We all start life off with an open, curious, loving heart, and then inevitably we get hurt. Life can be cruel. Someone lets you down. Someone shames you, betrays you. Someone breaks your heart. Someone abandons you. Someone you love dies. God does not answer your prayers, so we start making vows. We all know the vows. I'll never get fooled like that again. I'll never talk to him again. I'll never forgive her for what she did to me. I'll never put myself on the line like that again. And there are the vows that we make about God, too. I will never pray again. These vows we make, we take them to heart. They are often our response to the question, why? You hurt me. I won't trust people. I put myself out for people. I will care only about myself. I prayed for God for help. My loved one died. I will not pray ever again. We take these vows into our hearts, and slowly, day by day, year by year, that open, curious heart of ours turns to stone. After all, who wants to get hurt like that again? Of course, there's a problem with our plan. The heart of stone isn't just armor that protects us from incoming attacks. It also makes us less receptive to incoming love. And the heart of stone prevents all the goodness inside our souls, all that love and forgiveness and joy and spontaneity and romance, all that stands for, from ever getting out. We become cautious, controlling, judgmental, cynical, and rigid. We find ourselves living within a very carefully defined range of emotions: happy, sad, interested, bored. But our souls are both capable and aching to experience the full range of emotions. And that's why I believe we recite the Kol Nidre prayer each year. They come together to annul those vows we made that have caused our hearts to constrict. May our vows not be vows, may our oaths not be oaths, because they make our heart turn to stone. When I think about my life and the lives of those I encounter who have faced enormous pain, and they cannot get beyond the anger that has hardened their heart, I know that they are often stuck in blaming themselves or loved ones or God for actions that have caused them pain. Why? Because I failed. Why? Because my doctors weren't good enough. Why? Because God wasn't there to answer my prayer. Rabbi Levy's words are all the more powerful because they come from an authentic place. When she was a teenager, her father was murdered, and her entire world came apart. She went from a happy, fun-loving kid living in an amazing family to an angry, bitter, morose individual who no longer found life worth living. She hated herself for being weak and vulnerable. She hated her mother for not being strong for her. She hated her father for abandoning her. And she hated the Sabbath and Jewish holy days for reminding her of beautiful days that were now dead to her. And so when she was 15, she made a vow. I am on my own now. I don't need anyone. She could have led a lonely life, a life with a heart of stone that never became flesh, but she was lucky. A school counselor changed her life, and she didn't seek to answer the question why. She didn't even seek to get Naomi Levy to talk about her feelings. She could see that it took every ounce of strength for 15-year-old Naomi to keep it together. The counselor listened and helped her. And soon Naomi realized that she may be lonely, but she was not alone. She had made a vow that she was on her own, but she began to realize that she wasn't on her own. And when Naomi stood to leave, the counselor said to her, "One day, when you're ready, the tears will come. And trust me, you will welcome them." A year later, on the anniversary of her father's murder, she was with the class trip to Israel with all of her friends from camp. It was her first trip, and they went to the Kotel, the Western Wall in Jerusalem. She walked up to the wall, and at first she touched the ancient stones, and then she got closer, and she smelled them. And the stones smelled just like her father. And as she stood, her eyes closed with both of her arms outstretched, leaning against the wall so hard that it couldn't tell anymore if she was standing or lying down, she began to cry. And the wall melted, and her heart of stone melted as well. She knew then in her heart that her father would never leave her, that she had a mother who had more wisdom and love in her heart than she would ever know, that she had siblings who adored her and whom she adored, and that she had friends who would have her back forever. And God, yeah, she had God too. Maybe he was a little lame. He wasn't as all-powerful as she once imagined, but he was more perfect than anyone could conceive. And she had herself. And she realized she wasn't so weak after all. It was okay to be vulnerable, and all at once, she annulled her vow. She didn't have to go alone anymore. She was no longer on her own because she never was alone. What melts a heart of stone? Sometimes it's a sense of memory that cuts through all of our defenses and brings us back to something precious. Cutting through the heart of stone and arriving at the heart of flesh isn't a one-time job. The stone heart isn't gone forever. At every loss, at every disappointment, at every new challenge, it's there, ready to return, ready to take its familiar place inside us. And it takes so much courage to stay alive and soft and vulnerable. Each of us has the power to take back our vows, to take back those vows said in anger and despair, to make a choice to turn from a life of sadness to one of joy, to reject the darkness of anger and embrace the light of happiness that forgiveness and understanding bring, to allow that heart of stone to melt and give way to the heart of flesh. It is not a choice one makes but once. It is a daily choice to affirm life, to do the daily work, and in so doing you may find many unexpected gifts to follow. You might find you are more relaxed and the tightness in your chest has disappeared. Your breathing more even, less shallow. You may find your arguments with people may change. Instead of needing to win, your need will be to hear and be heard. Your parenting may change. You will be less rigid and you will make room for more fun. Your approach to your work may change. Instead of needing to push things through or force things out, you will find yourself making room for inspiration, for new ideas, for collaboration instead of competition. Your prayer life may change. Instead of saying, give me, give me, give me, God, you will feel gratitude. Thank you, God. Your love life may change as you allow yourself to be vulnerable again, and you become more trusting and open, because it takes courage to let down the heart of stone and replace it with a heart of flesh. It takes courage to move beyond the question of why and instead find the strength to live with ambiguity while learning to trust again, to choose love over fear. Is it possible you might get hurt? Yes. Can someone break your heart? Yes. Can a friend betray you? Yes. Can life disappoint? Yes. But is it still worth trying to melt your heart of stone? Yes. Why? Because we don't want to be dead to life anymore. It takes courage to break down that wall. But yes, there is a payoff. Remember, you are precious, you are holy, you are loved, and you are strong. May we all find the strength to remove that heart of stone, to embrace a heart of flesh that will lead us back to the life we are searching for, the life of love. Amen. continue on page 116. For the honor of accompanying the Ark curtains, I'd like to call upon Candace and Bernie Human, Christy Molaski, Barbara, Jackie and Larry Rosen, Candace, Sydney Alley, and Sky Human. Please rise. (122) is our Kaddish prayer. So we say Kaddish for those who have passed in recent days and whose yortzites are observed. We think of Becca Ogburn, Francis Maggio, Sidney Miller, Marianne Green, Mark Vogel, Harry Dvorak, Mary Moreno, and Gil Shaw. We observe the yortzites of Mamie Anderson, Irene Auspitz, Martin Baskow, Miriam Bluestein, Nathan Brender, Gordon Brunhild, Glenda Holland, Hornstubble, Mindy Christiel, Gladys Ehrlich, Sam Fine, Phil Fishbein, Helene Gorbina, Sylvia Greenis, Charles Hawk, Robert Katz, Rebecca Lander, Florence Lerner, Daniel Miller, Marvin Miller, Rose Cecil Mink, Sar Porath, Simon Present, Joseph Premack, Donald Rosen, Tema Rosenberg, Michael Rostek, Gloria Rothenberg, Gertrude Schneider, Viola Schultz, Getzi Sheehan, Herman Sternberg, Rabbi Leo Turitz, and Don Yaros. If you would like to say the name of someone who was not mentioned for Kaddish or yortzeit, please stand and say their names as my eyes meet yours. As we think of all these and others who have touched our hearts, we rise to recite our Kaddish prayer. Yit Gadol v'yit Kadash Shmei Rabbah, V'yalma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedachol Beit Yisrael. V'agalav v'zman kari v'yamru amen. Yeshmei rabba mevorach v'olam omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekusha barichu. Leila u'leila mikol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. Dam yiram b'yalma v'yamru amen. Yeshlam araba min shamay v'chayim. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Osei shalom b'mramav. Uya asei shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn. May we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved among us. Let us say, amen. Please be seated. Call upon Mindy, our temple president, for a word of Yontif greeting.
Can you hear me? It's a little high. Hang on. I didn't think about lowering the podium. Thanks, Rabbi. Trying to fix the microphone. Good Yontif, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank this great crew up here for on the Bima. First, okay, we've got a lot of people. We've got Della Costa behind me. We've got Don Ross, who is our executive vice president. We've got now all the past presidents. We've got Jackie Rosen right here, Congresswoman Rosen. Sorry. We've got Marla Letizia. We've got Stu Blumenfeld. We've got Drew Levy. We've got Harry Sachs. Jerry Gordon is in the back, and Scott Stolberg is in the back. And then we've got Justice Michael Cherry here. And then we've got Bob Unger, who sat down, and we've got David Wasserman somewhere. Where are you, David? So we've got all the past presidents. Thank you to everybody. Rabbi and Cantor, of course, thank you again for such a lovely service. It's always wonderful. Thank you for bringing everything to us, Ricky Reinhardt, who is our accompanist, our choir director, Barbara Siegel, our adult choir, of course. Thank you so much. You guys rock. You were great. We have Debbie Luce. I'm sorry, before I go to Debbie, Andy Smith was our cellist who did Kol Nidre in the beginning, and thank you to Andy. Debbie Luce did our lights tonight, so thank you, Debbie. Alex Hill did the sound, and of course, Shelley Berkeley was our Kol Nidre chairperson tonight. It takes a lot of people to do this, as you know. We've got all the staff, we've got greeters, we've got ambassadors, you name it, we've got everybody. The Sisterhood, the Mensch Club, everybody gets involved. With that, there is a list on a poster out in the lobby that has everyone's names on it that had anything to do with putting High Holidays together, because it's a big list. So take a look at that before you leave. And I've got a few announcements. If you thought you were going to get out of here right now, forget it. We've got a few things on the list. First of all, for tomorrow, let's go through tomorrow. The Tot family service is going to be at 9 a.m. In the Beit Tefillah. At 9:35, the religious school program is in the library for K through 5th grade, so that's where you go for that. The traditional service, of course, is at 10, and we'll see you all there. After that, the things you can do in the early afternoon break, you can learn about A Season of Musar at 12:45 in the boardroom. You can enjoy Biloxi Blues, which is the movie, in the Beit Tefillah, and there'll be a 20-minute meditation with Alana Giordano. The healing service is at 3. We've got the afternoon service at 4, Yisker at 5:15, Neela and Havdalah following that. So it's a big day. As far as upcoming events and information that we want to share, this Sunday, religious school is going to be at 4 p.m. I think a lot of you, I announced this at the family service, and I think that was affecting just about everybody in the room. But religious school is going to start at 4 p.m. Right after that, at 5:30, is the Sukkot potluck in the sukkah. So that we're going to be doing that, and please RSVP for that. And I think everybody's signing up online for food, so do that too. We will be having our Yisker service, including the unveiling of the memorial plaques on October, and the October 1st tribute on October 1st at 7 p.m. It will be a beautiful healing observance. We hope you will attend. On October 2nd, then, at 6 p.m., we will have our Simchat Torah service, where we unroll everything and we fill the room. After the hustle and bustle of everything, we have on October 5th, which is Friday night, our healing, it's our Serenity Shabbat service, and that is a healing service and relaxation. That's with all the candles, and it's dark, and it's, very, very nice with music. Rabbi is leading a Jewish heritage trip to Spain from May 24th through June 4th. On October 9th, there will be an informational meeting, so that's also coming up. Call Rachel for that. And lastly, October 26th is the first of our new Shabbat series, Shabbat in the Round. It will be a beautiful service. It's going to be out, it's a very different service, so please come to that. So we've got a lot going on. We always want to make sure you know about it during this time of year. Oh, and we have a new website, so check out lvnertamid.org. It's all new, and let us know what you think. And may you have a very easy fast and good Yontif.
Thank you, Mindy. All right, you heard a lot of announcements. I'm going to add one more. So 1 October, the first anniversary is coming up. I'm one of the co-chairs on September 30th at the cathedral opposite the Catholic Diocese at 5 o'clock p.m. There'll be a big interfaith service. The cantor will be singing. There'll be an interfaith choir. I'll be speaking. I think it's important that we memorialize this tragic event because now, after a year, it's reflection and it's healing. It'll be at 5 o'clock p.m. on September 30th at the cathedral, right opposite the diocese. And then on October 1st itself, since it's our holiday, we will incorporate our observance of 1 October as part of our Yisker service outside near the memorial plaques. So put that there amongst all the announcements. I think it's important to support these interfaith activities. All right. Final song. Start all over from the beginning. No. Just want to make sure they were paying attention.
No.
Adon Olam, 126.